Hi guys, and in this video we will add some content to our basic HTML structure that we finished in the previous video. The first thing we will add is a title to our document, letting the browser know and the user know what is this page all about. So the best practice is to write kind of not just 2 words title, very descriptive title. So I will just, in this one, I will just say, this is our first title. Okay. Now, in order to see what this looks like in the browser, we right click, then we say open with Live Server, the extension that we added, and you will see right there in the browser's title bar, you will see this is our first title. Okay. Now, this is very important for the browser. If a user bookmarks the page, they will normally bookmark it under the title. And it is a priority for all documents, or let's say a requirement for all documents, HTML documents, to have a title. Okay? So the next thing we will do, and the title goes between your opening head tag and your end head tag. Okay, so the next thing we will add is our headings. Now, in HTML, there are 6 different levels. Note, levels of headings. So that means there's level 1 up till a level 6. Now, level 1 heading is the H1 heading, being the highest, H6 heading being the lowest. So a heading tag looks like this. Let's say less than sign, H1. Now this is our level 1 H1 heading, and this is our lowest H6 heading. And in between, let me just type them quickly. Let me speed up the video. All right, I typed that all out. So we got our H1 level 1 tag, H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6. Now, let's see how these headings look like in the browser. Let's see how they look like. So let's say heading 1, heading 2, Okay, let me finish this up quick. All right, I've finished that up. So let's see how this looks like in the browser. Just right click again, open with Live Server. If you can see here, this is our H1, this is our H2, H3, H4, H5, H6, respectively. Now, if you can see, now the best, you see it's in the browser. You want to make Google your friend as a web developer. So that means there's best practices in HTML and in web development in general. So what you want to do is you only want to use one H1 element per page in your web design, if in your HTML structure basically. Now the reason for that is it is very good for SEO purposes and for screen readers. Since Google will use headings to index the structure of your content and your web pages. So you kind of really want to make sure that you follow the best practices. So the best practice means only use one H1 and obviously the H2, H3, H4, H5, H6. People rarely use H5 from, let's say, for H5 and H6, but avoid also using headings to resize text. Let's take, for instance, you've got an H2, but you want it to be the size of an H4. Okay, so then people will say, okay, nope, I rather want to make that a H4 because I like the size of the text. Avoid doing that. Rather use CSS to do that. Okay. The next thing, it brings me actually to my next point. The next point is don't skip headings. So let's say you used an H1 and then you decide, no, I'm going to use a H3 because the size looks better, or for whatever reason. Rather use a H2 and use styling to size the text accordingly. Okay. But we will explain how to do the sizing and things like that in later videos and when we get to the CSS part of this course. Okay. And you can use headings in this form. So you can have more than one H2 and more than one H3. But it's just best practice to keep one H1 heading tag. Now, if you can see the structure, we've got one H1 followed by an H2, then followed by H3s because it's different levels. Then you've got an H2, then you've got H3. So you want to go a level down from H3, obviously it's the H4, then you have to kind of do 4. Okay. So that is kind of the best practices for your headings, because just remember, you really want to make Google your friend as a web developer. Okay. So the next thing we will add to our pages here is paragraphs. And you guessed it, paragraphs use a P tag. So you've got an opening P tag and a end P tag. And your paragraph information goes between the two tags. So let's say paragraph text. That's it. So let's see how this looks like in the browser. Open up. As you can see, we got our heading 1, heading 2, and our paragraph text right there. So what you can do is, like, because the paragraph will normally be just 2 words, let's just add some more words in there to kind of get the feeling of a paragraph. Okay, so now we got a paragraph there. So let's see how that looks like in the browser. As you can see, we got kind of an image of a paragraph here. So you can type it like this, or you can do it like this, just to kind of make it visually. So if you want to see exactly where's your starting point of your paragraph and your ending point of your paragraph, then you can type this as well. Now, this is very important. If you want, let's say, spacing between your paragraphs, say you do this, that's a bad example. Let me say you want to say, okay, I want space between these two text lines over here. This is paragraph 1, and this is paragraph 2. Now, if you come back to your browser and you'll be like, but where's my spacing? The browser completely ignores white space between the two in the paragraph tags. So if you want to do something like that, paragraph 1 and paragraph 2, you have to use a new tag, new paragraph tag, and let's say we copy this one, add it here. It's paragraph 1 there. In that P tag, paragraph tags, opening and closing paragraph tag, opening and closing paragraph tag. So this is an end tag, and that's an opening tag or start tag, however you want to call it. You see, if we come back to our browser, you will see that we got our 2 paragraphs nicely separated. Okay. So the browser completely ignores the white space between. So this space here is called white space, and the browser ignores that space. Okay. So the next thing we will do, so let's say you do want to use white space, and you actually wanted how you type it, you want it to appear in the browser. So for that, there's a different tag. We call that the pre-formatted tag. So you open pre, type in pre, then you've got your opening pre tag, and you've got your end pre tag. So let's say, let me copy that paragraph, then we end it, put it in here. So let's say I want to put a space there, and I want to put a space there. Space. So now I want this just to be like it is. Save that. Open it in the server. You can see it comes out exactly as we typed it. One have one single space, the other have two spaces. Now, the thing about the pre-tag, it normally would come in a Courier font, outline like that. Okay, you can obviously style it in your CSS, and that's it. So if you want it to come out like how you type it, because normally, let's say you want to do a tutorial, and you want to say, I'm just going to type an example here. Let's say font size, and you want it to actually show in the browser. Say, no, not the number. Say font size 10 pixels. So let's say you do a tutorial and you want to put it in a blog or something. You want the text to actually appear like it is here. Then you can use something like this. So if you go to the browser, you can actually see it as an example for people to look at. Okay. So that's the pre-tag that we use if you want the font to appear exactly how you type it here in the browser. Okay. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I just want to explain, we're going to get it into a later episode, but I just want to explain what is block level elements and what is inline elements. So let me just go to the browser. So if you can look here, if you press F12 on your browser menu, you will see if I hover over the heading tag, you will see the headings of H1, it takes up the whole space in your browser. It basically takes out that whole block of your browser. That's why it's called a block level element. And the same for all the headings. Paragraph text is the same way. It takes up the whole block of your browser window. So that means it's also a block level element. So headings and paragraphs are block level elements. So it means whatever you type, let's say I type, let me go to VS Code again, and let's say I type next to this paragraph, let's say another heading, it's 3 here since it's a different level. Go there, go into our browser again. You will see it will go to the next line as a block level element. Okay, and then you get inline elements. I will explain this in a later video as well in more detail. Let's go to our, let's say we're going to add now an inline element. Span tags are normally inline elements, are inline, not normally, are inline elements. And for that, let's say this is an inline element. Okay, so let's do that. We refresh the browser, and you can see here, it comes here. This is an inline element. See there, it doesn't take up the full width of the window. It just take up the space that is necessary. Okay, so let's add another tag underneath it. Let's say another span tag. This other tag. Okay, so let's save that. You can see the another tag just follows it in the on the same block just next to it. So that means inline elements. So remember, when you use H1s or H2 tags, they will be block level elements or paragraphs. So it means whatever you type next will be in the following line. Okay. So in the next video, we will add some styling. As you can see, everything is just black and white, dull and boring. In the next video, we'll add some styling to our HTML page. And if you like this video, please click the like button, as it will help others find the content. And please consider to subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you guys. Cheers.